Hey guys, Dominick from Genuine Assholes, and everybody seems to be going Ghostbusters crazy with the new remake, reboot coming out in theaters tomorrow. So I thought it'd be a fun time to go back and look at the original two Ghostbusters movies and give kind of quick reviews but thoughts, and kind of do a hybrid instead of doing two separate reviews of the movies, and just kind of talk about my thoughts on the series and the canceled third movie, and of course my thoughts on the remake before I see it this weekend. Let's take a sip of Ecto Cooler and let's jump into this review. Now, the first movie, let's just say it still holds up. This is a movie I watched as a child. It is just as funny as I remember it, and being an adult now and watching it, it has more jokes that I didn't get. It has a lot of adult humor for a movie that's rated PG, because PG movies at that time got away with a lot of shit. And everybody's just on point. I mean, Bill Murray is at the top of his game. He says so many quotable, funny lines in this movie. Dan Aykroyd's great. The late Harold Ramis is great as Egon. And of course, even the forgotten Ghostbuster Ernie Hudson is great in this film. It's full of comedy. It's full of great special effects for the time. I mean, a lot of people, that'll stop them from watching a movie like this. Oh, the special effects look shit. But this is what they had at the time. It looks pretty good. Maybe there's some black lines around something. Maybe some things are poor claymation, but I think it looks pretty cool still to this day. There's good supporting roles from Sigourney Weaver and Rick Moranis in this movie. And overall, this is a good story written by Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis. It's a good screenplay. It holds up. And we've all heard the stories of how many different, drafts there were and what it was before it became this. And they really took the time to perfect this screenplay. And it really shows when you watch this movie as an adult. This movie, to me, out of 5, I think it's a 5 out of 5 star movie. I mean, this is just, it's such a funny movie, and it hits all the beats of a good story as well, and it blends all that horror and whatever the hell you want to call it, the ghost and everything. It meshes everything well. If we jump to the second Ghostbusters, this movie is a little bit different. It's kind of the opposite for me, because like I said, I watched both of these movies when I was a kid, so I have sentimental kind of nostalgic feelings for both. The problem with the second one is that it just, now being an adult, that I probably liked them evenly when I was a kid. Now watching them back to back as an adult, you really see the value of this movie diminish, where it's kind of like, it does have its funny points. Bill Murray's still trying. Dan Aykroyd's still trying. Everybody's still trying in this movie, but it's just the material that they had. The script is weak. It's basically a rehash of the original. I mean, there's some decent characters in there, like Vigo, that guy Vigo from Mr. Bean. I don't even remember his fucking name. But that guy, and there's some good moments in there. There's, the special effects are pretty cool, the slime and all that. But this basically is just, it feels very catered to children, which it basically was, because at this time, the cartoon show The Real Ghostbusters had taken a lot of popularity with younger children and the toys and stuff, and that's how I got into the Ghostbusters. So by the time this movie rolled around, they kind of had to cater to that audience, and you'll notice that by like a random Slimer cameo in there. So is this sequel perfect? No. Is it a good movie? Probably not. It isn't. I wouldn't consider Ghostbusters 2 to be a good movie. People do hold Ghostbusters 2 close to their heart because of nostalgic reasons. If I had to give the movie a review and I was generous, I'd give it a 3 out of 5, 3 out of 5 stars, but that's obviously pushing it because I grew up with the movie and I do enjoy watching it. It's obviously a poor kind of carbon copy of the original, and it doesn't really hit its mark as a sequel. It doesn't do anything out of the box. It just kind of recreates the original. But having said that, they're still close to my heart. These movies are still close to my heart. I like the cartoon as well. It's all nostalgia. Now, there was talk for a long time about Ghostbusters 3, and for people who aren't diehard fans of Ghostbusters, they have to realize, they're saying all this stuff about the remake and the reboot being, oh, this is, anti-feminism, and this is sexist, this is why it's getting all this hate. This is not why it's getting all this hate, okay? This is not what made people hate on this movie. What made people angry with this movie from the get-go is the fact that if you're a movie fan and if you're a Ghostbusters fan, you've been following the kind of go stop of Ghostbusters 3 for the last, 10 years, hearing about the fact that this movie was going to happen, this movie wasn't going to happen, Bill Murray was in, Bill Murray wasn't in. To put it in a nutshell, Bill Murray seemed that he didn't want to do it. Okay, there was rumors that he shredded the script that Dan Aykroyd sent him. There was this, there was that. But past everything, a Ghostbusters 3 with the original remaining cast, if Murray wasn't going to do it, was going to happen anyway. Dan Aykroyd was always the biggest supporter of the third one happening. He had his scripts, and he was always campaigning, saying it's coming, filming's going to start, filming's going to start, filming's going to start. Flash to Harold Ramis passing. And this is where the talk of the movie kind of got a little into remake territory. And then before we knew it, they were remaking it. And then before we knew it, it was with 4 women. And then as you find out more, you find out this isn't even connected to the previous movies. So this is where that I think, at least, you know, the little bit of anger comes from. I haven't been, you know, I haven't hated on the new remake so much until I started seeing the trailers and stuff, and to be honest, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look like a good movie. It looks like a shit movie. I'm not a huge fan of Paul Feig comedies. I've seen Bridesmaids. I thought it was decent, but I just don't think the movie itself looks good. I'll probably be checking it out because there have been some okay reviews here and there, and I just need to see it for my own curiosity because I want to see how it's going to go. I personally think that it would have been better. I haven't seen the movie yet, but I think it would have been better if we would have kept it in the same universe as the previous movies and kind of maybe even did 2 guys, 2 girls. That's the team of Ghostbusters. Have Dan Aykroyd or, you know, Ernie Hudson, if you had to use those 2 at least. If you couldn't get Bill Murray, and now that Harold Ramis has passed, if you had to use those 2, make them somebody's father, make them, you know, somebody's uncle passing the torch. I would have liked to see that. I would have liked to see a cast like maybe Paul Rudd, Craig Robinson from The Office, you know, people like that. Maybe paired along with 2 other women from this movie. I don't know. We could have meshed it. Maybe Seth Rogen or somebody like that. But instead, we kind of are getting just, hey, we're going to reboot it. We're going to use the name. We're not going to do anything. And we're not going to cater to fans that have been waiting for Ghostbusters 3. I mean, that's the thing when I look at, like, when Sony, you know, decided to make this movie. And I know this is kind of turning into a Ghostbusters remake talk, so I'll have to adjust the title that I had in mind. But, you know, I think from a fan standpoint that Sony would want to use people like Dan Aykroyd in this movie and come up with something almost like how Star Wars The Force Awakens did, where they, you know, brought Harrison Ford back, they brought in a lot of new players, they brought Mark Hamill back, and they kind of, you know, built the advertising campaign around that, around getting in touch with the nostalgia. If they would have did this with Ghostbusters, we all would have been really excited to see this new movie and ran out day 1. Now, am I going to run out? Probably, because I want to see it, but it wouldn't have got the backlash. But I'm going to check the movie out. Look out for my review in the next couple of days after I see it, and I'll let you know what I think. But I'm definitely going to keep an open mind. I'm still trying to have an open mind. I'm hearing that the trailers don't do it justice. Even the people that are not giving it great reviews are saying that the trailers make it look worse than it is. So I'm looking forward to finally seeing the movie. If you haven't seen the original Ghostbusters or Ghostbusters 2, I think even the second one, even though it's not the strongest film in the world, it's worth a watch. They're both worth a watch, and I think you should go out, pick them up, and do a double feature before you see the new one, because they're both pretty funny movies. Thanks for watching, guys. Check out my other videos. Check out my skits. I'm going to have some more skits coming out. I've been a little less active lately. I was busy growing a mustache. But thanks for watching, and subscribe.